And these two big powers are competing each other in the last 150 years in Europe. One called Christian, the other one is, let's say, progressive. Yeah. But now getting the newcomers, and they are not Christians at all. They're basically Muslims. So the left think that these guys will never vote for the right, for the Christians, never. So it means that instead of continuing that kind of competition, which was basically not bad for Europe anyway, right and left and so on, now they involve new voters, which totally change that kind of structure. It's over. So accepting that culture, the Christians and the right cannot vote anymore again, because of the high number of migrants who got the citizenship, then family unification. The number is growing, and they will never vote for the right. To where they will vote, that's a question. To the left, or they will create their own party. That's the biggest question of the future, but definitely not voting for the right. So this is what's going on. It's a plan. So migration is not just a problem of legal system or demography or employment. It's the basic structure, the livestock structure of your society, and the left started to change it. But we arrived to a point when it became obvious for them that now it's dangerous. Probably it's a good concept in their mind for long term, but day by day, because of the crime rate is going, because terrorist attacks are growing, and the anxiety of the society against this whole thing is growing, the people feel more and more alien themselves in their own country, So it's a political factor even for the left. Yep. I think this is the reason why my colleague decided to follow my track. Sorry to say that, to follow the fascist, feudalistic, whatsoever Hungarian pattern. But they did. That's the reason why I'm so happy that Hungary has 0, 0, 0. We don't have migrants. Not illegal, no migration at all. So we stopped it.
So what about countries like Germany? I was with Alice earlier. They've already got millions of migrants. She's getting a lot of backlash for talking about, I think it's called remigration, whatever term she uses. So what's the solution for countries that have gone down that path for so long, unlike Hungary? Is there a way back from having all these immigrants?
I'm just simply happy that it's not my job. And what I'm fighting for, not to get the same dilemma, because it's the biggest dilemma, spiritually, morally, especially for a Christian, what to deal with. And I'm so thankful to the God that it's not my political challenge. So what I'm doing to preserve the situation here, not to have that question, never, for the Hungarians. To change the European Union, I think the European Union will change its mind on migration quite soon. I have various and many impressions collecting at meetings recently, in the last 6 months. Prior to the Prime Minister Summit of European Union, we regularly have a meeting of anti-migration countries. Denmark, Italy, Hungary and the others, but they are the main Westerners. And they are getting more and more nervous. And they are requesting more and more radically change of the policy of Brussels on that. I try to educate them and to say, guys, this is not helpful. But they do it, they press, and some good regulations are coming out. But basically, they cannot, this move is not a game changer. The game changer is only what I say, rebellion. Rebellion. A rebel against the European regulation. Hungary is doing that. So what is the law now in the European Union is totally against what we are doing here. So I have to pay every day, 1 million euro as a fine, as a punishment, because I don't follow the pro-migration policy of the Commission. So that's going on, but it's a simple rebellion. And that's my suggestion to everybody. Rebellion. Reform will not help. Even they will accept certain push coming from the prime ministers, but they will never change dramatically the structure what we need.
How can the EU genuinely survive? Or how many years do you give the EU in its current structure to still work?
Few. So we are in the last phase now. So, the European Union, for many reasons, finally lost its competitiveness. So the only reason why people are ready, our members are ready to accept crazy regulations of the EU institutions just because of the financial transfers. But because losing of the competitiveness, less and less money could be redistributed. So the financial transfer is not a keeping together factor anymore. It's reducing. I see it in the discussion coming from for the next 7 years term budget. And if you are not competitive, you have only one option. You have to make yourself competitive again. Otherwise, you will continue to come down. And what is the way to do it? You need strong leadership, which convince the majority of the people or made it acceptable for the majority, the economic reforms, which are sometimes painful. In Hungary in 2010, I introduced some hugely painful reforms, changes. And the people were so desperate because of the previous socialist government, they have accepted it. Not because they agreed, probably, just because there was no other option, you know. And the previous socialist government destroyed everything. And I convinced them to accept it. Let's make a chance for me 2 years to introduce these reforms, which probably painful, but in 2 years' time, you will see the results. And they let the chance for me to happen, and I did so. So that's the reason why the Hungarian economic structure is totally different than any others in the West European societies or European Union. It's not as obvious as the migration or war or gender or pro-family issues, but even the economic structure basically different from the other European ones. But that's another story. So I have some experience how to run dramatic economic reforms to make your country more competitive. But that kind of leadership is lacking in Europe at this moment. So I don't see any country, and not the Brazilian institutions neither, to be able to reform the structure of the European economy to make it more competitive. So if they cannot do that, what is the other option? First, to say intellectual misconception. And go home. That's one. But they don't do that.
That's the Swiss view.
Okay. But they don't do that. But they have another answer. Okay, if you're not able to run reforms for competitiveness, let's get money somehow and somewhere else. And it's loans. It's debt. So now the final phase of the European Union is common indebtedness. This is the beginning of the end. That's how I see it. And we do it now.